This tutorial is going to go over how to easily add and customize borders in Photoshop. Adding a border is something that is pretty easy to do, but only if you actually know the steps for doing it. You see a lot of people trying to kind of hack borders by duplicating images, making the one below it a little bit bigger than the other one. I've seen a few different things that just are definitely not the best and most efficient ways to add a border. One of the first things we're going to do, because it's on this image that we have open and that we're going to add a border to, is on a transparent background. That'll make it hard to see what our border actually looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer over here, and the easiest way to do it is if you're on a Mac, you hit Command-Shift-N, and that'll bring up a new layer, and you could name it if you want. I'll just call this background, and give this, you can give it a color. That's a lot of times that's if you're adding a lot of complexity. We're not. This is just very basic. The background right now, if you're new to Photoshop, the layers are in a very visual style, so when it comes to what will appear up top, right now that W is going to be on the bottom. So if we do give this background the black color that we want to give it, and we can give it by selecting this background and then just hitting Command and then delete, it'll turn the whole thing black. Now it is important to know, if you're doing that, you did not just destroy your W or your image. If you come over to layers, you can see it's right here, and if you want to see it and get rid of the black entirely, you can click this little eyeball and it removes the visibility from it. Click it again, and now to move it so it's in the background, truly in the background, we're going to click on it and then drag it right below, and now we have our W up front. That's one of the great things about working in Photoshop. You can play around with different layers without actually affecting your main images. It gives you a lot of flexibility that way. So the first thing we're going to do, because if we want to add a border to this, that border may actually extend beyond the borders of the canvas, and so we're going to shrink this down a bit. So we're going to select that layer. Make sure you don't do anything in the background now. That's just so we can see what our border looks like. And we will click on Command-T, and what that will do is it'll let us transform. The T stands for transform. Let us transform this image. The best way to do it that I've found, if you want to resize an image and maintain its aspect ratio, meaning you don't want to distort it, click on the keys Option or Alt, Shift, and then click on one of these corner boxes, and then just kind of shrink it a little bit. We'll shrink it to about right here. Let go of the keys and then press return. And now we can see that our image gives us just a little bit more margin. We could have also gone up to image and increased the canvas size, and that would have accomplished the same thing. We'll do that in a different tutorial though, so don't worry about that now. Okay, so to add a border, there's just about 3 steps, and it's very quick and easy to add, and it also has quite a bit of flexibility in it as well. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come up here to your tools menu, and we're going to select one of these, either a quick selection tool, or in this case we're going to select the magic wand tool, and then just click anywhere in your image. Now if this image actually was a picture, or if it had different colors or anything like that, then we might have to use like the lasso tool or one of these different tools to try to get around that image and to pick out and select the exact area you want. But for this one, it's one color, it's going to be really easy to select. All you have to do is click on it, and now you can see these little look like little ants moving down. That just signifies that that image has been selected. And now to add a border, just come up to Select, go down to Modify, and then click on Border. When that menu comes up, you're going to have the ability to give the border any size you want. So for this one, we're going to start off with a nice simple size, and we'll go with 4 pixels like it suggests. Hit OK. And not much looks like it's changed, except if we zoom in, you can see a slight border has actually been added, and now what's in that W is no longer selected. Now all that's selected is this thin area right here surrounding the W. So I will click back. One more. There you go. So we can see everything. And I'm going to go to the color swatches down here. And I want to make this a white border to start off with. So I'm going to click the little switch, and this switches the foreground and the background colors. And now you can see whites in the background. And now all I have to do is hit Command Delete. And then I'll click Command D to unselect it. And you can see a perfect white border has been added to the image. And so this is a really nice and easy way to add that border. I'll show you how you can actually customize this even further. We'll go backwards a few steps. To go back, you can hit Control Z one time, and then Command Z, then Command Option Z. That takes away the paint we did. Then again, to take away the border, and now we're back to just selecting the W. And I'll start from scratch, so hit Command D to unselect everything. Go back to the wand, we'll go back and select it. And this time we're going to give it a bigger border and show you some of the other things you can do. So we'll come up, hit Select, Border, and this time we're going to go with a border of 15. Really nice thick border. So last time we just hit Command Delete and added a white background. This time we're going to play around with it a little more. So hit Command D or Command Z to undo that. And this time we're going to add a gradient border. So come over here, click Gradient, and you can customize what that gradient would look like up here. So we'll come up here, and this is going to give us just a very plain white and black one, but we'll go from this side all the way here and then hit Control D, and you can see that we've added a gradient to the border. The W itself hasn't been altered at all, but it's changed the entire way that that image is looked just by adding that. And I'll double click the magnifying glass so you see what it looks like at 100%. You can see that it's just added a little blur effect and just added a gradient around the entire thing. You can play around with different ways that you can add borders to images, but this is a really nice and simple way to do it. And because it uses the selector tool, you can do a lot of different things, like adding gradients or adding textures or pretty much anything that your creativity will allow. So this was how to create borders in Photoshop. Thank you for your time. Please let me know if you have any questions or any other items you'd like me to add to this list of tutorials for Photoshop.